Hey friends, it's Megan, Georgia Girl Stitching, here on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Saturday, January 7th, 2023, and I'm here for my first video of the new year. Happy New Year, friends. I hope you had a great start to the new year and made it through the holidays okay. We had a little bit of a whirlwind for our Christmas and New Year's. David only had leave from the 24th through the 26th, so we drove down to Atlanta on the 24th and drove back on the 26th, but had an incredible time in between. Really had an amazing time with our families, and it was just a nice time to, celebrate the holidays and relax and enjoy each other's company again. So I really enjoyed that. The trips both ways were great. We got to stop off in Charlotte on the way back and see some of his extended family, which was wonderful. So yeah, it was just a really great holiday, and then came back for a few days, and then he turned 27 on the 29th. So we went up to Williamsburg for a couple of days and just kind of tooled around there. He had never gone on the tours before, so we went through all of the different historical sites, and then through Colonial Williamsburg, and then also shopped around, and he played golf at one of the local courses. I guess I technically did too, but I'm so new to it that I kind of just played around him. Well, he took it seriously, kept score for himself. I would drive and maybe putt and hit some irons between. I was taking it seriously, but I was not it was more of a practice round for me while he actually kept score and tried to do well. So it was fun. I was at one of the local golf resorts up in Williamsburg. So we had a really great time, and then had New Year's Eve. And I did the 12 by 12 hosted by Pam and Kia. I watched my Bulldogs defeat Ohio State at the very end, rang in the new year with the Georgia Bulldogs victory. So that was a lot of fun. Feeling for you, Michigan and Ohio State fans. Candace and Melissa, I'm sorry, not sorry. Well, Candace, I feel for you because Michigan, but I didn't have a dog in that one fight. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun watching football all day and bringing in the new year with that. And then I started a new rotation on Monday. Started family medicine, and so luckily just right down the street. So very easy commute in this cold weather. It's very cold here. We had a couple days of warm, and it looks like it might try to get warm again. But yeah, so far it's just been really cold. So today at least. But yeah, it's been a good start to the new year. We've been doing well, and I've been stitching when I can around studying. So I want to thank you all for checking out the video today. I know there's tons of incredible WIP parades. I've been trying to work my way through them as best that I can. So many wonderful videos out there. So thank you so much for clicking on mine today. And for those returning, thank you so much. And then for anyone who's new here, thanks for checking me out. This might be a little bit of a longer one. It's kind of a mini WIP parade, and that I'm gonna show all of the projects that I worked on during the New Year's Eve 12 by 12, which was essentially, work on a project for an hour for 12 hours on New Year's Eve and ring in the new year. I will say I did not go all the way to midnight. I had to stop stitching very shortly into the last hours to watch that UGA game. Someone even asked me, they're like, how are you getting any stitching done right now? I was like, I'm not. My last few projects have very little progress. I was pretty much only stitching in commercial breaks, to be completely honest. As my last project has barely any progress. I actually consider not showing it, but I'll still show it. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed, doing that. Again, this year I did it last year. Last year I did all new starts, and this year I did kind of half and half WIPs, half new starts. I definitely learned a lot about my stitching process during it. I did last year too, and then this year, I was flip-flopping counts and types of fabric and colors of fabric and types of projects. It was a lot. I was going from 32 count, then 40 count, then back to 32 count, and just very different. That's very different stitching style for those kinds of stitching, and then dark fabric to light fabric. So I kind of learned more about how I want to organize it next year, and B, like the kind of stitching I like to do. So I'm kind of still reflecting on that and how that might get incorporated more as I go forward, but I enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next one. And then I did have 2 new designs this week, since last time, especially since last time I saw you guys. I had Where You Lead, which I'll put up, which is inspired by my favorite show, Gilmore Girls. It is more of a typography. I kind of threw in some colors, but you could very easily change those colors to whatever colors, you know, speak to you. I originally had it just in black on white fabric, and then I kind of made it more Gilmore Girls type colors. But very easy to customize. Gilmore Girls is a very special show for me growing up and with my mom. And I started watching the reruns when I was in middle school. You know, when they were always from the 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock hour. And I would get home like right at 4 o'clock or a little bit after 4 and would watch them. And then I think it was in high school, my parents got me like the full 7 seasons on DVD, and so I watched it all the way through. And then every year I just kind of watched all the way through, and thankfully it's on Netflix now, so I watched all the way through. And every year I would relate to a different season because I would be in that season. So when she was a sophomore in high school, I was a sophomore in high school, and you know, watching that season meant more because I could relate more. And then she was in her college years, and I was rewatching it in college, and I could relate more. And now it's kind of fun going back and watching. Now I'm starting to relate more to Lorelai, like more of the adults in the show as an adult. And so it's just been really, it's kind of fun. Every time I watch it back through, I get something else out of it. So, and then Black Needle Society is doing their Stars Hollow series right now, and absolutely love stitching on that. So I just love that show, and so I was inspired to do something for it. And then the other new design, it just released a couple days ago, and that's Snowy Friends. I was actually working on a different design, which I still may play with, but it wasn't quite working out how I wanted it to. It wasn't coming together as easily as I was hoping, but I had already designed this little part of it, and it was the snowman, the tree, and then the reindeer. And I was like, you know, that's really cute just like that. I love these little guys just like this. And so I added the snowflakes and kind of like customized it a little bit, added some scarves and some hats. And so again, one that's very easy to customize. There was a debate in my family if the reindeer's nose should be red or black. My mom and I said it should be red. And then my dad and David said it should be black, because it's winter, not Christmas. But when I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, it's kind of like Rudolph and Frosty hanging out post-Christmas, you know, they still exist. You know, in my mind, it's not like Rudolph just like dies at the end of every Christmas and reappears, you know, like he's still like, around. He's just not the focus. But yeah, so I did chart it in black, but because it is meant to be more of like a winter piece that you would have out like in January and February if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And so I kept it black, but feel free to change that nose to red if you had a similar thought process as I did. And then of course, like the snowman, you could change his colors to whatever is more your style. So I just think they're so dang cute, and I just loved designing them and looking at them. My mom is actually going to model stitch it for me. She has the perfect piece of Ada, and she's going to be stitching on it this year. So when she has it finished, I'll replace the cover photo with her stitching. So, but yeah, I mean, no rush on that, just whenever. So that will be in the future. But yeah, so those are my 2 new designs. You can get that on my Gumroad page, free downloads. I'll link it down below. And like I said before, like it's pay as much as you want or as little as you want. There's no requirement for download. It is much appreciated, but it is definitely not a requirement. So, and then I had 2 giveaways, and I have them, I already have them packaged, so I don't have them to actually show you here, but that's not the part that matters in this video, because I have 2 winners that I just did the random comment generator, picker, whatever website. And for the tree, the palm leaf floss tags, the winner is actually Lynn McGill. So Lynn, if you could message me your address again, I will get that out to you. And then the other one was the four-leaf clover, or the clover green floss tags, and that winner was Jacqueline Liebfried. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. But yeah, but if you would also message me on Instagram or email me at georgiagirlstitching@gmail.com, I'll get that out to you as well. So congrats. I don't have a giveaway for this video, but I'm hoping to have one for next video. So one of my resolutions for this year with FlossTube is to do a few more giveaways in my videos. So I'm usually gonna do those at the end of the videos though. So watch all the way through, because a lot of people don't care about giveaways. So I save those more to the end. But I wanted to go ahead and get the winners out there. I think those are all the updates. So we'll move to the stitching. So I'm gonna show one WIP that is not part of my 12x12, but that I have worked on since last time I saw you. And it is, I'll put a picture up here, Patchwork Quaker by Sitckideen van der Wienberg. And I actually got a page finish since last time I saw you. So here it is all together. And this is also the only one that is semi-ironed. Sorry, I haven't ironed the 12x12s, but. So I got the page 5 done. So I just have one page left, that blank space down there. And then this one is done, which I am so ready for it to be done. I love working on it, but I am ready. This was a May of 2020 start. It's time for it to be finished. So come on closer, you can see where the parts that I worked on since last time I saw you. And the page actually goes through that bottom motif. So I have the page 5 part of that motif done and started a little bit on the page 6 motif. So just one more. I'm kind of racing Shiloh. She was working on it recently. We started this around the same time. So she's about halfway, but she's stitching it long ways. So she has this whole side done, and now she's working on this other side. So yeah, love it. I'm doing this on 40 count platinum. And then now I'll go into my 12x12, because that's pretty much all I've worked on. The main thing I've worked on in the new year after 12x12 is one of my 12x12 starts. So I'll talk about that when I get to it. The first one I did in 12x12 was the Shire from Country Magic Stitch. I actually started this with one of my really great friends, Claire. She and I go to med school together, and she's a stitcher as well, so we've been connecting over that. And so she also wanted to start this, so we got on Zoom a little bit before the kickoff and started it together. It's on 22 count white Aida, and this is as far as I got. So with these designs, I'm actually starting in the middle, which is not the typical start. So there's not much there. This is just like an hour or so of work. I started in the middle, so it's in the green over the green hobbit house, the green over his house. So these two pieces of Aida, I know it's going, or this piece of Aida, I know it's going to fit on this piece of fabric, but I don't know what my exact margin is. Like, it's not a perfect inch or inch and a half or 2 inches. Like, it's kind of an obscure border. So, because I'm not sure where this Aida even came from. It was just out of my stash. So I don't know exactly what my border is. So I'm starting in the middle just to make sure, so I don't miscount the border. I don't want to have like a 2-inch border and then find out I only have a ½ inch on the other side. So I just started in the middle, which she started up in the corner. So it'll be kind of fun to see our progress separately. We'll be working on the same pattern, but different parts. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, just that tiny little start. The next one is Riccioli de Natale. This was a gift. Another center start. So I started this 12x12 last year, hadn't worked on it since. So I just continued on. This is on 40 count Lagoon by Zweigart. And I just made more progress on the weight. I love how much the white pops off this fabric. This has become one of my new favorite fabrics. Now that I've worked on, this is the only piece I have on it, so I'd kind of forgotten about it because I hadn't worked on this piece, you know, in a year. And I'm definitely adding this to my normal fabric collection that I go for. Because that's just, oh, it's so pretty, it just pops. This blue is just so pretty. So, Riccioli de Natale. The next one, I'm gonna insert a picture. This is Hibiscus Arrangement 1 from Artery. And I started in the middle, and here's where I'm at. So I did work on this before 12 by 12. I worked on this around Christmas time since last time I saw you, so it has more progress than just that one. I finished this leaf, and then I've been making a lot of progress on this white flower, which I learned is not an white orchid. It's a plumeria. Those really pretty, like, typical like white flowers you see out of Hawaii, like in pictures. It's gorgeous. I'm a little sad it's not a white orchid in a little bit because I just really love white orchids. It's kind of special to me. But so I was like excited that there was a white orchid in it, but I also still love the other one, so it doesn't ruin it. But it was kind of funny because I'd posted that it was a white orchid, and a couple people informed me of what it truly is. So yeah, love it. This is on 32 count wave pool by Colour&Cotton. And I'm keeping that in the Q snap because I plan on working on that occasionally. If I just need like a quick pick me up of warmth and tropical feeling, then I pick it up. The next one is a no start, and this is Love from Stitch's Lovers Shop on Etsy. So I changed it. So this is what the original cover is, the original pattern. And then I changed it. I'm stitching this for my friend who's getting married in May. And I kind of inversed it. So here's a mock-up of what I will be doing. And I'm stitching it on 40 count raw with white for the letters. And here's where I'm at. Oh, it's pretty. I actually originally had stitched this L in white etoile, and it did not show up as well. Like, you could barely see it because white etoile is more like gray etoile. It's not B5200 white. The silver in it that makes it sparkly it tones it down, especially with only, because this is just one thread. And then the white thread itself is not that white. I would say that's more like 762 or something. It's really not a super white. So it was not showing up very well. So I took it out and I'm just doing B5200 now. The other colors the colors of the stems are all called for. My goal is to finish this month. This is my focus because I'm going to keepsakes in early February and I want to drop this off to be framed. She does not create frames. I will get a standard frame and she'll put it in the frame, like pin it and put it in the frame for me. So this has also gotten quite a bit of progress this month already because I am participating in Brrringo by the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group run by Czuck Stitch and Robin, is it Lady Robin Create? I don't remember her exact FlossTube. I'll link it down below. But those two have a Facebook page that they manage all year round, Magazine Monthly, which the idea is like you work on your magazines that you've acquired. And then in January, they have a specific challenge called Brrringo, where it's a bingo board, kind of like WIP Go, but it's just for the month of January with numbers. And then they have prompts that you fit a project to for that prompt. And then you create your own bingo board. And then every evening, Carolyn calls out a number, and that's what you would stitch on for the next day. And the minimum goal is either 100 stitches or an hour on that project. And so since I thought it'd be a fun way to kind of kick off the year, because I'm not doing WIP Go this year, so I thought that'd be kind of fun to kick it off. And then you have to post like progress pictures. If you are attempting to be entered into the drawing for prizes, you have to submit like a progress photo, start and after photo in an album on that Facebook page. So I thought it'd just be kind of fun to kick it off. I was planning on working on this month anyway, and I could fit it to like almost, no, more than half of the prompts I could fit this project to. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna be working on it anyways, I can easily just take a picture at the end of every 100 stitches or end of every day or whatever, and just submit that. And then some of the other projects that I couldn't fit this project to, I want to work on this month as well. So it kind of worked out anyway. So I think I have like 6 projects that I fit to all 25 prompts. So here's kind of a place of, here's my bingo board. You can kind of see, I do it on Excel just to keep it easy for me. And this is where we're at on it. As you can see on my bingo board, I am not actually doing the magazine New Start or WIP. I don't have anything from a magazine right now, and I know that's kind of the purpose of the page, but I do have things I want to do for magazines, but that's not my focus this year, and I didn't want to have to do a New Start this month, you know, just to fulfill 2 prompts. So I'm just not, those are not going to get filled on my bingo board. So that's a couple of bingos I can't get, but that's okay. I'm not really doing it for the prizes. I'm just doing it because it's fun. And it also encourages me to stitch on this and to work on some of these other projects that I would potentially find reasons not to. So yeah, so this is where this is again. I worked on it this morning. The prompt for today included, this was the prompt for this project. So I worked on it this morning, and I'll probably work on it more again later if we have time. All right, and then my next one is Celebrate Autumn from Madame Chantilly. I did start this last year at 12 by 12, and I did not work on it since. So I just worked off of where I got to last year. This is all we got. Last year I had the start of the tray and the green basket. This year I added the 3 apples and the acorn. And this is on 40 count Mallow, 1 thread. So really enjoyed that. Got some more colors in there. When I do 12 by 12, my typical like schedule is I start the project at the top of that hour, you know, working on it. And then I really only stitch for like 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. And then I spend the rest of the hour taking the picture, putting it on Instagram, getting up, drinking water, eating if that's that time frame. And just kind of, and like I couldn't 100% neglect like my life that day. So I kept the laundry going and like stuff like that, you know? So I really only do like half of the hour actually stitching. Actually, I did a challenge this year to also do 25 push-ups at the end of every hour. That lasted maybe the first 3 hours. So I got 75 push-ups in that day. But that was it. So yeah, so that was that one. So that's kind of, so really my stitching progress is really only like 30 minutes, 40 minutes of stitching. And then the next one was Forever and Ever by Cottage Garden Samplings. I started in the center on this one last year. Didn't touch it since. And I got, this is on a 32 count vintage Stormy Night. No, vintage Stormy Night from, it's a printed fabric. I'll have it listed down below. I'll put all my projects down below. But here's where we're at. So I got the L done and the O. So this is the vintage Stormy Night. Yeah, it's good. So that you can see the fabric. It's this printed model because the back's not. So I'm excited about that. I really enjoyed it. This next one, I have complicated feelings about. So I started this next one a year ago on this fabric. I started it with my mom. We both fell in love with it. It was the beginning of the series. Everyone was in love with it. You know, a lot of people had started it. I kind of got on that bandwagon, and I really do love it. The fabric is the perfect color. It's hard to work on. With the right lighting and everything, I was able to work on it this time. And I was able to to make a little bit of progress, but I'm not as in love with this piece anymore. I mean, I don't dislike it anymore, but this is the Fox by A Year in the Woods from Cottage Garden Samplings. I still absolutely love it. I think it's very nice. You know, that Fox is just awesome. So I still really like this piece, and I'm not going to stitch it, but it's not one of my focuses right now. I don't necessarily have a place that I want to put it, like in my house. My mom is stitching it for herself, so I don't need to stitch it for her. So it's just, I'm not quite sure what I think I really just started it because I needed because I was doing 12 new starts, and I needed another start. And so I started it. And I don't know if I wasn't doing 12 by 12, I don't think I would have started it already. So I'm kind of UFOing it for right now. I will probably come back to it at some point in the future, but I'm kind of taking it off of my active WIP list right now because I have this is all I've got. And what I worked on this year was the orange around her belly, or her chest. I guess it's more her chest. And again, I think that it looks great. This is a 40 count Nocturne from Picture This Plus. And it's got to be the perfect lighting in order to work on this fabric. And I'm just not as in love with it right now. So I'm going to temporarily UFO it. I'm still gonna keep the fabric and everything. I'm not gonna take it out, but I'm not gonna count it as one of my WIPs for right now. I feel like it's barely even a WIP. I mean, it's got a collective 45 minutes on it, or I guess because I worked on it for like half an hour last year and half an hour this year, so like an hour on it. This was also, I think, when we had dinner, so I got even less work on it. So it's just gonna sit kind of in WIP purgatory for a little while. Next one though, I'm absolutely in love with and plan to focus on at the end of this year. That's Woodland Wonder from Glendon Place. Candace from Candace K, she showed hers in her finished parade, WIP finished parade, and I'm like, oh, I have to get back to this. So I love this piece. If you want to see it fully finished, check out. She had a little bit of a change to hers, but it's gorgeous. I'm doing this on 32 count Oaken, Earthen, 32 count Earthen from Picture This Plus. And this is how far I got. I started this on, I started this on last year, 12 by 12, and I just got some of the inner border green done. This year, I extended the inner border green and got the outer stitches in. So it's a lot of fun. This is as low as this border goes, but this goes all the way across the piece. So I haven't obviously gotten that done yet. I was gonna do some of the snowflakes in here, but then I realized that actually includes a blending filament that I don't have. So it's on my list to pick up at keepsakes when I go. That's the fabric. It's kind of blowing it out when I come in closer, but yeah, so I'm really enjoying this. Excited to get back to it. I think I have that one slated for November to work on, November or December this year to work on. This next one is Shores of Hawker and Hallow. Started this first day of 2021 and I have barely any done, but really want to get good progress on this one this year. I'm stitching this on 32 count platinum. And, okay, this was getting late. Yeah, this was getting 11, 10, 9. Yeah, this was getting, this is the beginning of the UGA game. Okay, this is the one I started at the beginning of the UGA game, I'm pretty sure. And I made a mistake, I'm gonna have to frog. So that's what happens when you're watching football while stitching. So this is where it's at right now. On New Year's Day that year, I got the black box done, the outline done. And then then at some point last year, I got the white part done. So this year, I started on New Year's Eve, I did all the red. But this row right here, I was supposed to stop 2 stitches in. So I'm gonna have to like unsecure it somehow. I'm probably just gonna have to rip out a lot of like that section. Or rip it out far enough where I can then, secure it. Because that's one of the opening of the So the lighthouse is this. So I just like flew past that, just kept going. So I'm gonna come back to this year. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to happen. And I'm excited too, because I really wanna get good progress on that this year. The next one was another Lord of the Rings start. This is Rivendell from Country Magic Stitch. And again, another center start on 22 count white Hardanger Ada. That's all I got. And that might be upside down. I'm not exactly sure. No, it went this way. I was right. I still have the sticker on the bottom from 123 Stitch. Yeah, so still got got a little bit done. I'm working in the center bridge area. So, but I do really like working on it. I got them all in Pattern Keeper, the one strand. Okay, next one is Autumn and Stars Hallow from Black Needle Society. So I have already started summer, and that's what a lot of this progress is. And then I started in the gazebo on the other side. And it went really fast because I had the other side to compare it to. So it looks like quite a bit of progress, but it's just because I was able to compare it to the other side. And this is on 40 count Ophelia from Colour&Cotton. So like this is all the summer, and then you can see where the autumn side of the gazebo is. This one I was able to stitch while watching football pretty well, because I was just continuing on. Really love it. I'm excited. I've signed up for the spring one in April, and I'm really excited to get that. So, but I want to finish the summer before I start spring, because it's going to be, this is the full piece. So the summer, this is just the edge of the summer. So I got to get to the other side, and then spring will be on this side. And then eventually we'll have winter go on there. So I have a 3-inch border all the way around, so it's not quite that long, but because I just went the width of the fabric she had sent us. So it might even be more than a 3-inch border, I'm not sure. It's just easy to cut that way. Instead of having like this much left at the end, I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going. So really, really love working on this. It's so much fun. And thank you to Mel of Hope and Stitches for gifting me that pattern, because I missed the autumn retreat when it first came out. And then the last one I have like no progress on this year in general, but especially this year. This was the last one. This is when the UGA Ohio State game was getting really intense. Let's Talk Stitching by Hands On Design. I think I only worked on this for 10 minutes. Maybe like 15 minutes. It was not very long. And that is as far as I got. This is on 40 count aqua. I did the 3 X's last year, and then this year I started on the white hoop. As far as I got. I did notice though, so I kitted this up over a year ago. The white that's called for, so it's supposed, the model is stitched on black, so it shows up very well. The white on here is actually at 38.65, and it's not showing up super great on my aqua. Like from a distance, you barely can see that. So I'm actually, and this was another reason that I stopped early. Also, it was like 11:15 and stressed, and I couldn't. When I do like that, you can see it, but straight on, I think I'm gonna rip this out and do B5200, because I think that'll show up a little bit better. I hope it shows up a little bit better. If not, that's not gonna work, because it's mostly white. So if the white doesn't show up on this aqua very well, then I'm gonna have to do something different, which I'm willing to do, because I'm not very far in it. So I'm gonna rip that out and then do the white, and the white doesn't work, get a different fabric, which is a shame, because I really do love this aqua, but I did have to, UFO my Falling Snow by Shannon Christine, because the white wasn't showing up super great. So I'm not super hopeful. I might just have to restart it. But problem for another time. That is another one that's not a focus for this year. I'm not like UFOing it or anything, but right now, but it's not like on my stitching plans for this year. That's just like a fun one. That's for my, it's okay, Tinky. It's for my 1-day craft room that does not exist yet. So that is definitely one that I'm not like in a huge rush to finish and just work on at will. So some things I've learned about kind of my stitching style in general, especially after this process, is I'm definitely a product stitcher. Which I knew already, but like really hit me while working on this, is like, if I do not see a future place or purpose for the finished product, I'm not super motivated to work on it or stitch it or start it. I love the process of stitching, but I'm stitching to have a finished product. And so that's why I have goals and, you know, wanting to finish things. So like the fox, you know, I don't have an obsession with foxes. I think it's really pretty and it's really nice, but I don't see it up on my wall. Maybe a project bag, maybe. Now that my mom knows how to do that, stay tuned. So that one, so stuff like that, I'm not super. I also learned I very much prefer one-stranded stitching on, 40 count or over one stitching. Like I very much prefer working with one strand. I will still definitely work on 32 count and still do 2-stranded things, especially if I want like the size a little bit bigger. I don't hate 2-stranded stitching, but I love 1-stranded stitching. Just the back and forth, it's much faster. And I really love PDF patterns on my pattern keeper. So like my ideal stitching situation that I like, cause I did 12 very different things over a course of a very short amount of time. I was the fastest and the happiest when I had my pattern on pattern keeper. I had 40 count fabric and I had it on a Q-snap that fit in my lap stand, and it was 1-stranded, and I was just going to town. So that was like my ideal stitching. The 32 count, I can't really do two-handed super well without it twisting. I just have to do a little bit of extra railroading and work to kind of, so that's a little bit slower. And the paper patterns are just not my, paper patterns that I cannot put on my Q-snap. So like the Glendon Place one, it's kind of a book. I won't show the pattern, but it's a book. So I was having to kind of flip through it. Now what I need to do, and what you're all gonna tell me, is make a working copy. And you're right, I do need to do that. I do not own a copier, so I need to, it's a little bit of extra effort to do that. I will do it, but then there's still like highlighting involved, and it's just, I'm gonna do it and I enjoy it, but it's just not my ideal. So there's stuff like that. And also next year I am going to be a little bit more or I guess this year, like when I'm making my schedule for 12 by 12, I'm gonna put all the same counts at the same, like back to back. That, cause like the switching from the 32 count to the 40 count messed up my brain, especially as I was getting later. Like I went from the Shores of Hawker and Hallow 32 count to the 22 count Ada Rivendell. Like my brain, it was not. And that was at like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And I'm like, after I'd already been doing this for 9 hours. I'm like, no, okay, that's not, my brain was not super happy with that. So it's just like, and then I went back, you know, so I just need to be a little more cognizant of that kind of thing. So I very much enjoyed it. Only one, potential 2 projects that we'll see if they continue into 2024 in their current state. So those are that's all my stitching. My plans is gonna be Brrringo this year, and I haven't done like a video over my projects because it's mostly gonna be Love, that one that I already showed you. Patchwork Quaker, which I showed you, that's on there 3 times. Is there Hibiscus? Oh no, Hibiscus isn't on there. Seasons in Lace Winter, I showed in my WIP Parade. I'm gonna be, I showed all of these in my WIP Parade, but that's on there a couple of times, and that's actually my Sunday focus for the month of January, so I'll be working on that tomorrow. My oldest WIP, and the one I dread the most, I mean, I don't really dread it, but is Celtic Christmas. So when those get called, I'll get a couple 100 stitches. I'm doing the 100 stitch goal or more, 100 plus stitches or more on my Brrringo pieces. So that'll be coming out a couple of times. And then my smallest WIP, which is my Elizabeth II Memorial piece, and my largest WIP, which is Shores of Quaker and Hallow. So when that gets called this month, I'll pull that back out, rip out those red stitches, and hopefully get some more progress on that lighthouse. I think those are all the pieces. And then so hopefully when I come back next time, Love will be done, and I'll have more progress to show you on those pieces, because I'll probably be back close to the end of January. David has to go for a week of training, like a Thursday to Friday or Wednesday to Friday training in a different state. So he'll be gone. So my mom's coming up to visit me during that weekend. So mom will be here for a weekend, and then trying to think. I don't think there's any other major things going on in my life this month. Thankfully January is more of a steady month. December was a little rough mentally. So yeah, hopefully January will be relaxed and fun. But yeah, and so that's my stitching plans with Brrringo. I do have 2 gifts that I want to share. One is a small one that I got in the mail from a good friend. This is my friend Jess. It was her wedding that was back in June that I was a bridesmaid in. She was a bridesmaid in mine. And she sent me this cute card and this cross-stitch keychain of aquamarine gemstone. Let's see if I can get it to focus. I also need to go to the nail salon. Okay. Maybe. Well, it's gorgeous. She said in her note, aqua, it symbolizes tranquility and resilience. So I very much love that. I'm probably gonna put it like on a project bag, like a zipper pull, so I can see it. So thank you, Jess, if you're watching. And then the most amazing cross stitch gift my mom gave me at Christmas. I'm just gonna show you and then I'll talk about it. She made me a project bag with one of her stitched pieces that she did for me. So I opened this up and like kind of screamed. And there's a lot to this, so I'm gonna kind of break it down a little bit. So this piece is she actually gave me the cover photo. It's a Tell 'em emblem piece. And the significance of this piece is back in 2020, January of 2020, Mom and I went to Stitch Away, the Keepsakes retreat in Ohio. I'm just gonna hold it up while I talk about it. Went to the Keepsakes retreat in Ohio, and Tell 'em Emblem was the guest designer for that retreat. She gave us 2 patterns, a blue version and a pink version, and they were slightly different. I got the pink version, Mom got the blue version, and this was the pattern. And honestly, I kind of forgot about him because it's been a while, and 2020 obviously was crazy. And then, so Mom stitched this piece and changed all the colors from her stash in it to represent more of like my style and brighten it up and put my colors in there. And actually she was telling me a funny story. This flower she changed to pink because in one of my videos I was talking about how much I love pink hibiscus. So she turned this into a pink hibiscus. And then she of course made the project bag around it in my colors, my favorite colors. Great zipper pull, and then on the inside is beach fabric, because me and beach. So I just love it so much. The zipper even matches the fabric. Like it's just, she just did an amazing job. And then the back is this fabric. So she's very much always about signing pieces, and I agree. There's some pieces I wish I had signed and I forgot to. So yes, so I just absolutely love it. I haven't put a project in it yet because I kept it out to remember to show everyone. What's in it right now is actually David's stocking stuffer to me, which is cross stitch related. He went to Michael's and got every blue fat piece of floss that they had, like one of every blue. And it wasn't every blue because Michael's is low on stock right now, but he got He got a lot of them. I think I counted that there were 23 or 24. And this was my stocking stuffer from him. So I'm good on blues for a very long time. Actually, it was kind of funny. One of my pieces, oh, it's actually Patchwork Quaker, that blue, the motif at the bottom. It's $5.98, I think. And I was like, hey baby, can you go and look at my, he was in the room. I was like, can you go look in my stocking stuffer that you gave me and see if you can pull out the $5.98? He's like, can I interest you in a $5.97? I was like, no, I really need $5.98. And he was like, I have a $5.97. And they happen to be out of the $5.98, so he didn't buy it. I was like, of course, the one I actually need. I have plenty, but it was just really funny. So thank you so much, Mom. I am obsessed with it. I'm still figuring out exactly which special pattern gets. Probably the pink hibiscus should probably go in here since, you know, she represented the pink hibiscus. So still figuring out exactly which special piece is going to go in here, but I love it. So very, very kind stitching gift year. And then I have one piece of haul that I actually bought this morning because it was on sale. And they might still be on sale if you're interested in these. And I'll put a picture. This is the Winter Gnomes from Wonderland, Ukraine. I was watching Laura's Stitching by the Shore, and she was working on her autumn gnome. So if you want to see one of the ones being stitched up, check out her latest FlossTube or her WIP Parade. She shows it. And I was like, gosh, I just love this so much. And I've already bought the Christmas ones. And I was like, let me go see these winter ones. Like, what are we looking at? And they were on sale. They're 40% off right now. So, and I'm not sure, I just looked at that one pattern, so I'm not sure if like their whole Etsy store is on sale or not, but I know those are. So if you're interested, I'll link their shop down below. But I think that's all I got. Like I said, I'll hopefully be back at the end of January, and we'll just go from there. And then of course I'll have tons to show you when I get back from keepsakes. I'm already like creating a budget. Pretty much anything that I, like any of my designs that are downloaded or like any floss drops or floss tags that get bought off my destash page, anything like that, I'm putting towards my keepsakes budget. So, so I'm super excited about that. And we'll just go from there. So I hope you all have a wonderful start to your new year, and I hope January goes well for you and you're staying either warm or cool, depending on where you are in the world. And I hope you have a wonderful time stitching. Love you, friends. Bye.